Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am your host, Bob Benham. Thank you very much for checking in for another episode. I truly appreciate it. We've got so much going on that things are just absolutely nuts, as usual. It just seems to be the prevalent thing going on in our world today. Uh, you look over at overseas at Britain and how the wonderful British government has just completely rejected the people there and Brexit, and went and made a big deal with the European Union. So they might as well just be right back in the European Union. Dumb. I remember watching that election the night of the election when they won where the vote was taking place on whether or not they wanted to get out of the European Union. And it was really interesting to watch that election take place. And the people voted to get out. And what do the politicians do? Oh, no, we're working on getting out. Yeah, they never did. So, goes to show you, uh, the governments are not going to do what the will of the people are. It's just horrible that the people cannot get what they vote for. It's just not right. So, here we are. We're stuck. They're stuck with being ruled by a bunch of people that they didn't vote for, and I don't know. It's just that whole thing is insane. Not- when I remember when I went over there while I was in the Navy, and I thought that the whole European Union thing was just crazy to begin with. And then they came up with the after I got out, they came up with the euro for their monetary use with instead of using the each country's own form of money, they came up with the euro and said, "Oh, we're going to use this as the money for the Europe and stuff like that." And I went, "Oh boy, this is just not. It's just going from bad to worse." And now they're talking about having their own military, a European Union military, and that is even. I mean, that's just the worst, even on top of that, because they have NATO. That's what NATO's for. I don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense to me. NATO is there. It's a correlation of all the countries, and they're there to take care of one another. That's the whole point of NATO. And now the European Union says, "Oh, we need our own military." No, no. That's a bad idea. So I still say that NATO really is a bad idea because the Soviet Union's gone, and that's what the whole point of NATO was, because they had that big correlation of countries that was part of the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union is gone. It's no longer there. So why have NATO? NATO is no longer needed. It's a moot point. And so I mean, they want to talk about America first. Get out of NATO. Get out of all these crappy organizations. The United Nations outlived itself 30 years ago. Get out of it. Get it out of our country. It doesn't need to be here. It's a useless body of bureaucrats that have no idea what they're doing or what they're saying or anything, period. I mean, most people have no idea why it's there or what it's doing. And so there's no sense before it being there. I mean, you can go walk out to anybody on the street and say, what does the UN what does UN stand for? They couldn't tell you. And if they could tell you, you'd say, okay, what have they done lately? They wouldn't be able to tell you that either. It's useless, absolutely 100% useless. So be done with it. We don't need to be involved with all this international coalition crap. No, we don't need to be involved in any of it. If you want to have a trade deal with another nation, or you want to have some kind of agreement to help protect another nation, you have that individual agreement with that nation. You don't need to have all this, well, we're going to form a coalition, we're going to have this one person in charge of all this garbage. No, you don't need that anymore. Forget that. You don't need it. You just don't need it anymore. And I'm speaking from experience on this because when I was in the Navy, my primary command was NATO. I was assigned to NATO. Even though I was with Second Fleet, the primary part of Second Fleet was Strike Fleet Commander Striking Fleet Atlantic, which was the NATO command. That's what was on the brow of the ship whenever the admiral was piped on board, and when he went and departed the ship, it was always Strike Fleet Land arriving, Strike Fleet Land departing. That was the precedent. It wasn't Second Fleet arriving or Second Fleet departing. Strike Fleet Land. It was NATO was above the U.S. Now, don't ask me why. I have no idea. But that's what it was. And I wasn't crazy about it, but that's just how it was. NATO took precedent. So, I mean, it's just, that was just the way, I mean, I don't know. It was just crazy. And the funny part about it was, with Striking Fleet Atlantic, which is no longer in existence, by the way, they did away with it. Gosh, I don't know. I don't even know when they did away with it, but it's been many, many, many years ago. Probably not soon after I got out, they did away with it. Striking Fleet Atlantic officially had just 3 members of the United States Navy part of Striking Fleet Atlantic. There were 2 yeomen. There was myself and another yeoman, and then there was the admiral. That was it. That was it. So, if there was a NATO thing going on, it was us 3. That was all. So yeah, it was just ridiculous. I mean, and Second Fleet, when I was in, we had just the admiral. The admiral was a vice admiral, 3-star, and you had the chief of staff who was a captain. You had who was the next? It wasn't a vice chief of staff or something. It was just like an executive officer type. I can't remember his title now, but there was a commander. It was a commander. And then Um, that was that you had a chief warrant officer that was in charge of the administration, and then you had your senior chief, and then if first class that was admin, had in charge of admin office, and then the rest of us. Uh, there were a total of I believe there were 16 of us, 16 yeomen assigned to the Second Fleet, which is quite a few. But there were a total of, if I remember correctly, about 30 or 35 officers assigned. And it was us 16 yeomen that were in charge of taking care of those 35 officers. Whatever they needed, we had to take care of it. That was a lot of work. And it kept us busy. It kept us really busy. The whole total staff, we had a few radio men, we had a few cryptologic technicians, which are part of intelligence. And let's see, what else do we have? We had a oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the title now. Basically, he was a weatherman. And he had to give the admiral updates on the weather. Aerographer, I think it was, something like that. Anyway, and then we had a drafting guy because he was in charge of all the graphics that had to be done. So, we had a pretty diverse staff which took care of all these kind of different positions and jobs. And it was pretty cool. It was neat that we had all this stuff. Oh, and we had mess cooks, obviously, for the admiral. The admiral had his own personal mess cook, mess cooks, I should say. There was like 4 of them that took care of him. Because if he had a dinner or something like that, they had, a few of them to make sure that they were taking care of, whoever the admiral invited for dinner. So, yeah, it was pretty cool that the staff was like that. And I have to laugh now because I was thumbing through and found President Obama deactivated Second Fleet. There, no surprise there, considering Democrats hate the military, and the police and all that. But anyway, Obama deactivated Second Fleet, which was real smart because Second Fleet was in charge of the entire Atlantic Ocean. And part of the Southern Pacific Ocean. It kind of wrapped around South America there. But anyway, he deactivated Second Fleet. And when President Trump came back or President Trump was his first term, when he came into office, he reactivated Second Fleet. And unfortunately, now Second Fleet's not a sea command, at sea command. When I was in it, was an at sea command. We were on board a flagship, and we were at sea a lot. We were constantly training the ships for exercises and getting them ready for deployments over into the Mediterranean and into the Middle East and all that stuff, because the Middle East was always a hotbed for activity. It's still just like it is now. just exactly like it is now. It has not changed. So uh, we would prepare the ships for what they were going to have to deal with over there, and so we would be gone for a while, getting the carrier groups and such prepared, and throwing exercises at them and throwing situations at them and stuff like that. And once we would get done, we would get our port calls and port visits and stuff, and then we would head back to Norfolk. Um, our command ship, when I was in Second Fleet, was the USS Mount Whitney. Um, that beautiful ship, she single screw, that means one propeller, amphibious ship, and uh, she was good home for 3.5 years that I was in, because I went there right after my school and stuff, and went to Second Fleet. Um, she was good home. Um, we had let's see, oh, a lot of adventure on that ship. Um, Watching the water come over the bow in the North Atlantic. We were on our way back home from an exercise and a deployment, and the hull cracked, and we were taking on water, and the crack in the hull just happened to be right where my berthing area was, where I slept and had my rack. And so they had people stationed there and trying to keep the water mopped up and the water out, it's gone as much as possible. Um, and it was interesting because during the daylight you could barely see. I mean, it was just a small little crack, but but the crack was long, and it we had a coming through rough seas, and the ship came up out of the water enough that there were two swells, and when she came down, the swells were spaced just enough that when she came down on the other swell that was up ahead, and basically the ship just kind of twisted a little bit, and it cracked the hull, and so they were like, well, we better get home quicker, so they fired up another boiler and sped her up a little bit, and we made it home a day and a half earlier than what we were scheduled. And they got to work on her right away to repair that. So uh, that was interesting. Um, and I mean, you just go through the normal sailor Navy stuff, and it's just long hours at sea. Long hours at sea. Uh, but it's the takeaway from it is that you become disciplined. You are responsible. Um, you understand authority. Um, you are, I mean, I live by the Navy's three words that we lived by in the Navy were honor, courage, and commitment. And I still live by those words. Those words are in my head every day, and I try to live by it every day. And I also live by um, a slogan that the Navy SEALs live by, and that is the only easy day was yesterday. And that has proven true every day of my life. So I keep those two slogans in my head, and that's what gets me through the day. Um, and anyway, but yeah, back to, I mean, when the Second Fleet was reactivated, I went to its webpage, and uh, they now have like uh, the vice admiral, 3-star, who's still the commander, but now they have a 2-star that's a vice commander. I think there's another 2-star that's part of it, and then they have it's the two rear admirals, and I mean it's a ridiculous number of officers that are just. I mean, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, um, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, kind of thing. Um, just like a lot of places do. There's no reason for it to be like that. Second Fleet operated, I won't say flawlessly, but for the most part, it was smooth when I was in. We didn't have very many issues. And if an issue did come up, we worked through it very quickly and got whatever problem that came up taken care of in very quick time. So it wasn't like it was a problem for a long time. It was handled quickly. So yeah, it just like now it just seems to be overburdened with too many higher ups. I mean, you don't need a vice admiral and 2-stars. I mean, rear admirals. It's too much, way too much. It's just there's just no need for that. You have, I mean, you just don't need it. You just don't. You're creating positions for what? Uh, just to create positions. Um, I don't know. It don't make sense to me. But anyway, that's my take on that. Um, but I did enjoy my time in the Navy. There were some tough times. There, when you're going in, of course, you get homesick. Everybody does. I mean, it's a whole different environment. I'm not sure how it is today. Everything has just, with all this woke garbage that's gone on, I am certain that it is everybody's coddled more now than when I was in. They probably don't have that in your face, get do what you got to do, get your stuff done, get it done right. Your penalty is going to be high if you don't. Um, that kind of stuff. Get taking responsibility for your actions. That kind of thing. I'm sure um, they've lightened up on that a lot. Um, I know uh, I'm kind of switching gears here a little bit, but I know from the time I was in the police academy back in 1990 till now, uh, it is completely different. Um, my brother is still um, on the police department, and so I kind of get some information from him. He fills me in on the stuff that's going on, and we used to have to do boxing to understand how to take a hit. If we get somebody throws a punch, and you kind of go, just to know that you can continue to fight. You can stay in the fight. You're not. When you see these things on TV where somebody takes a hit and falls, and that's it. No, you get up and you continue to fight. Um, Same thing with getting shot, taking a bullet, whatever. You can still fight. You get up and go. You don't quit. Wrestling, same thing. They've done away with wrestling, boxing. Um, um, the physical fitness portion has been cut back, I guess, quite a bit. And it's just, to me, and the military, quasi military portion of it has been drastically cut back, um, which I don't care for at all. I mean, that the mayor of Columbus actually came out and said, we need to get rid of the warrior mentality of the police officer. And I hate that he said that, because that's exactly what you need from a police officer, is the warrior mentality. Because if there's a gunfight, a fight, that officer has to have that warrior mentality to survive that. Because, I mean, it's just how it is, period. That's just how it is. I know that. When I was an officer, I can't tell you how many scrums and stuff I've been involved in. I've been I've been in the shooting, with a homicide suspect. So I've been there, and just the training stuff, the scenarios and stuff. I did the 40-hour basics training of SWAT. Um, I've done that stuff. I've been there, done it. I know how you have to have the warrior mentality. If you don't, you're not going to survive. It's just how it is. Um, to make an ignorant statement like that just is irresponsible, and just and ignorant, very ignorant. Um, Of course, he's a Democrat. What else is new on that? Columbus has been run by Democrats since, mm, I want to say around 1995 or so. So the city's been run into the ground, and that's sad. Um, it's just when I first came to Columbus, um, I would have, if somebody would have came up to me and said, "Is that a good place to live?" Would you? I would have. Oh yeah, I would have swore by it. Um, it was a clean city. Um, every night you saw the street sweepers out. I mean, they even street swept the freeway. That's how clean it was. Um, it was a very um, it was just well maintained. It was welcoming. Um, sure, it had its bad neighborhoods. Every city does. Um, but you also, I mean, it was just it was just a everything was in its place. It was just, I mean, that's all the best way I could describe it. And it you knew where to go, where not to go, and downtown was vibrant. Um, it was, I mean, it was just, and there was other things that were happening where they were adding more to downtown. Um, so yeah, it was very beautiful city. Um, they were adding things. Uh, they were still building skyscrapers and stuff like that. I don't think they've added one since for a skyscraper. The skyline pretty much looks the same as it did from when I first moved there. Uh, I know when I first joined the police department, we got a brand new cruiser every 2 years. Every 2 years. Um, Now they're lucky if they see one every five. Uh, I mean, you're talking that the cars have hundreds of thousands of miles on them, and you don't know when you're going to see a new one. Um, Sad, very sad. Fire equipment. The firefighters are in equipment that is 15 or more years old, and they're using it to go out and fight fires with, and it's outdated. I mean, there's equipment out there now that is more advanced and more efficient, and they can't get it. Um, City won't buy it for them. It's just crazy, and I don't know. It's things are so. Like I said, it's just a. It's not. It just a local problem. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Every city in the country is like that. Um, and it's sad because every city is Democrat run. Um, I kept telling people years ago, um, all you got to do, if you're going to run for president or whatever, all you got to do is win the cities, and you're going to win the presidency. because that's the population centers. That's where all the people are. And if you can win that, I mean, that's it. That's all you got to do. And when you look at even just this last election, yeah, President Trump won by a large margin with the popular vote. He cut in on the large cities. He took quite a bit of the vote in the cities. Didn't win them outright, but he did take away a large portion of the Democrat vote. And that was impressive, very impressive, because that hadn't been done in a very long time. But that's what the Republicans need to do. They need to get the message to the cities that they are for them. They need to work on that. The people out here in the back country, they don't have to worry about us. We understand that already. You know, you don't have, I mean, you look at the maps and it's red. It's a sea of red in the back country, in the country. You don't have to worry about it. We understand. You just need to sit and get in these cities and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we can do. This is what we need to do. And work on it. Get on it. Take care of it. Get out there and talk to people. Let them know. Have them understand what's going on. And it can be done. It can be done. It's something that I firmly believe in. That it's, heck, I've talked to people in the city, and they understand if you have a good conversation with them. Now, it is harder now. It is, because you've got people that are just, they're so set from listening to the media. And the media, oh my gosh, to get me started on that would be, oh God. They are the most complicit part of the evil going on. That's just, they really do need to take a look at themselves and really need to ask themselves questions about themselves and what they are doing. But they never will. It won't happen. They won't ask those questions about themselves because they don't care. And it's the same with the Democrats and the liberals. They don't care. They don't see any further than right here, past the end of their nose. All they see is, what can we do in the short term to make it feel right? Feel right. They don't care about the end result. They don't care about what happens down the road. It's all about right here, right now. The hell with what goes on down the road. We don't care what the consequences or the repercussions of it all. It don't matter. We're not here to fix the problem. We're going to do what we're going to do right now, and then we'll deal with the problem later. And then we'll say, well, we can fix that. Just elect us and we'll fix it. We can fix it. Even though we created it back back a few years ago, because we didn't realize that this was going to be the problem that we created when we did the other thing, because we didn't think far enough ahead to manage it and take care of that. But anyway, it's just nobody uses common sense anymore. Nobody uses logic. Uh, it seems that all that stuff is just out the window, and if you don't think things through, it's just going to get worse. And we don't need for anything to get any worse than what it already is. I mean, we're pretty much at getting close to the bottom. We're not there yet, but we're getting close. And I really pray that I'm not here to see that when we do get to the bottom. But I hope that we turn it around before we get to that point. And I am hopeful that people will finally come to their senses and say, we need to get this turned around and fix the problem, fix where we're headed. And it's going to take an effort to do that. I don't know. I know President Trump he has made things very difficult for the Democrats and the liberals by just swamping them with executive orders and executive actions. They literally have zero clue and zero idea of how to respond and react to it, because there's just been so many. And I'm kind of get a laugh out of it, because I saw it coming. I knew that President Trump learned from his first term that, hey, the way you guys played me that time, it's not going to happen this time. And that's how it's working. So he has set the agenda and he's got it rolling. And I got to applaud him for it. And I got to applaud him because he is doing exactly what he said he was going to do while he was running. He hasn't changed anything. And it's so funny because the liberals and the Democrats, they're doing exactly what they did the first time he was president. They're already introducing articles of impeachment. They're already doing this whole resistance thing. They're already doing the calls for violence in the streets and all this other stuff. They're already activating Antifa, and they're doing the whole Black Lives Matter thing and this and that and the other. And where you doing the name calling and the here's the Hitler, Russians, or the fascism and the racism and the misogyny and whatever. All they act like school children. It's you know unreal. They don't have anything. They have nothing. They have nothing except that. They have nothing to offer. I mean, there's just it's an empty head with them, except calling names and trying to find a way to impeach the president. He's been impeached twice, people, and won both times. They didn't find him guilty. He won both of them. Okay, so you can say we impeached him. Who cares? Who flippin' cares? I don't care. Oh, he's a convicted felon on 30 whatever counts of this charge. The charge is made up. It doesn't exist. There's no law on the books for those charges. I don't care. You made it up. The judge and the prosecutor are corrupt as hell. It was made up. It's fake. I don't care. All you have done is try to ruin this man's life. I don't care. I just see a man that's trying to save the United States of America. I see a man that's given up a multi-billion-dollar company, gave it up so he can serve his country to try and save it from the crap that these politicians got us into. Everybody always said, "Oh, we need a businessman to run things and get because he'll know what to do and how to get things done." People, we got that businessman now, and he's doing the things that we all wanted to have done. Let him get it done. Let him do it. Quit complaining. He's doing what he needs to do to fix this country. He's getting rid of the stupid regulations that have been put in place by dumb politicians that have no clue to anything. They were bottom of the barrel lawyers that don't have a clue, that couldn't get a job at any law firm. Otherwise, they'd be working at a law firm, but they can't, so they ran for office, and this is how they're screwing up the country. It's enough. They don't get rid of the stuff that's obsolete, even. They just keep adding more on top of it. It's time to put it to an end. It's time to get back to basics. It's time to rid us of all this bull crap that's been stuck upon us by the Supreme Court, by the Congress. It's insanity. The Constitution of the United States of America is there to protect us from the government. It is not there for the government to do whatever it wants. And say, well, you know what? This amendment says that, but we're going to push the limit and just kind of work our way around it. No, 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 no. The Second Amendment is clear as a bell. Shall not be infringed. Those four words make it plain as day. However, how many gun control laws do we have? I guess shall not be infringed doesn't matter. That's just one example. Uh, It's just crazy, people. It is crazy how much of a hole this country's in right now. There's one amendment in Ohio that's probably going to be on the ballot in November, where they're trying to get an amendment to the Ohio Constitution to get rid of property taxes. And you know what? I'm voting for that one because there should not be property taxes. I should be able to own the land that I live on, in the house I live on. And I should not have to pay property taxes on it and be under the threat of, if I fail to pay my taxes, they take my house. I should not be under that threat. I should be able to own my home and own my property and not have to worry about the government being there and taking it because they want to tax it. I pay enough taxes. That's one constitutional amendment that makes the most sense that I've heard in a very long time. And that one needs to be passed. And on a lighter note, have you noticed that all these TV commercials for automobiles? I get a kick out of it because it just, every one of them, for the most part, is filmed out in the desert and you always have the mountains in the background, and you have the desert landscape, and then you see the cars, or especially the SUVs and the trucks. They go off road, and they tout, "Oh yeah, we're the toughest truck and toughest SUV, and we can go do this and do all that." And I love it because how many people actually take their vehicles off road? Not many, if hardly any at all. And you know how I know? I lived out in Arizona for quite a number of years. And you know how many of those vehicles I saw off road? None. The only time I would see maybe a few of those vehicles off road would be when they were, if they decided to tow their Razors or Can-Ams or something like that to the back country, and then they would offload those and then take off-roading. Not They wouldn't take those trucks or take those SUVs off-road. They were taking their Razors or Can-Ams side by sides off-road, but no, not the trucks and the no. Mm-mm. I laugh at these commercials. Almost every one of them. There's always a scene where they're off-roading. It just ain't happening. Who came up with that? Be real, folks. These vehicles are on the road in neighborhoods and on city streets and on highways. They're not on the back roads. They're not off-roading. Not happening. That's not truth in advertising. Come on, people, get with it. That's just crazy. It makes me laugh every time. Oh my goodness. Oh well. Anyway, with that, thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. I'm glad to have talked about these topics, and hopefully something was said that made you think about it a little bit, and did me as I was talking about it even. And God willing, we get this turned around, and we've got 3.5 or so more years with President Trump to get this going, and hopefully we get it going in the right direction. Thanks again for tuning in, checking in. This has been Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am Bob Benham, and I really appreciate you checking in. I really appreciate it if you would please pass the word about me, and please have them check me out. If you like it, click on follow, subscribe, whatever. And I try to do one, at least one a week. I am hoping to do more than one a week. And we're going to keep this going because I enjoy it, and gives me something to do since I'm retired. I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not making any money off of this. It's just to be out there and to get the word out about things in our lives that are difficult, and to try to meander our way around and to get through things on the daily lives. And with that, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Take care of yourselves, watch your backs, and we'll see you soon. And God bless the United States of America. And you take care. Bye bye.